Hello there, this story is trending now. If you want to learn and become smart, make sure to like and subscribe to this video. Also press the bell icon to get notified about everything we post. He brought her to introduce her to his mother. Then she saw a photo of her beloved who disappeared. Katya was engaged deep in her thoughts, sitting at the hill she always used to sit by, when a man driving in a car suddenly stopped by and asked why she had been sitting there. Because she had lost all hope and trust in humanity, she did not reply back to him and stayed quiet in response to what she would say. But the man needed water for his car as it stopped working and needed to be cooled down instantly. He therefore approached her again and asked if she could let him take the same water in his bottle so he could drive his car again. Katya was a very helpful woman, so she got up and let the man come, and then she gave a bucket full of water to him. The man kept on talking to her in expectation that she might respond to him, saying that he was very tired of traveling and wanted to rest a bit if that was okay with her. The man introduced himself as Sergey and told the woman that he lived near the village in the neighboring city. Katya, upon finding out that he was a very good man, started interacting too, and he would ask about her often. So she prepared tea for him so they may drink it together, and afterwards started preparing dinner too. Winding here and there in the house, Sergey's eyes caught a picture hanging on the wall. It was a picture of a young man with a gun in his hand. Upon inquiring the details from Katya, she told him that it was her son who died in the army 2 years ago, and now she was left all alone and no one to care for. Sergey felt very bad for Katya and had developed feelings of sympathy and pity for her, so he wanted to comfort her and asked if he could stay and eat the soup that she had prepared or not. She gently smiled and showed her approval for him staying over, and then they started to interact more and more. Katya learned that Sergey was to go to Moscow, and it was the city that had greatly impressed Katya, and she's been longing to visit it again. But she didn't get any second chance to visit again. Sergey offered Katya to go with him and accompany him to Moscow, as that was his next stop in 2 days, and then he politely ate the soup she had made, and it was very delicious. Sergey then thanked her for her kindness and took the bucket with him and left. Just 2 days later, as promised, he parked his car outside her house. She got into the car with him and they drove towards Moscow. On the way, the man asked Katya some questions, as he had sensed a lot of sadness inside her. He wanted to know more about her life. He asked her why she was always sad when she would sit on that hill and what was bothering her so much. She told him that she was born and raised in the same small village where she is living, and she was brought up by her mother, and her father had died when she was very young. She continued with her story that when she turned 20, she met a very young man and fell in love with him, and they got together. But then suddenly one day, he disappeared, which left her heartbroken. She then went to live with her mother, and she found out she was pregnant with a child. She gave birth to a beautiful baby boy and then looked out for her mother and her baby. At that time, she used to work at a store nearby and feed her little family, the only one she was left with. Her mother used to look after her son and take him to school while she worked at the store, but as her son turned 15, her mother became very sick and soon afterwards, she passed away. Her son then had to join the army, and before that, Katya had to look after him. Sergey asked Katya why she did not marry again after her first love disappeared. She had not lost any hope for her husband's arrival, and that she would wait every single day for him and get sad when he would not come to the hill. Now she had also lost her son, whom she loved very dearly. She was used to him, and now she had no one. Sergey and Katya enjoyed each other's company a lot on the way and kept talking to each other, and she had a beautiful voice. So he asked her if she could sing another song for him, which she did, and he enjoyed her sweet voice to the fullest, and he wanted to listen to it more and more. When they reached the capital, Moscow, Sergey booked 2 rooms for both of them and asked Katya to go and rest, as it had been a very long ride. Then, at the time of dinner, he told her to come with him for dinner and took her to a nice restaurant. Katya kept looking at the city and relived all the beautiful memories that she had in the city when she had come here before. The next day, Katya and Sergey sat on the breakfast table and had their breakfast. While eating, they discussed how they would spend the rest of the day, as there was so much to see. So they went out and wandered in the streets, having a great time, and then went to the museum afterwards. They entered the Red Square, and later on they went to a nightclub. After some time, Sergei went to the singers and asked if they could let Katya sing a song. At first, she was very shy, but he kept on encouraging her and asked her to sing, so she started her song. Her sweet, melodious voice filled the whole nightclub, and everyone fixed their attention on her. She was then approached by the manager and asked to leave her number as they may want to work with her in the club. Sergei had a great day spent with Katya and had no intention to leave her side. Katya thanked Sergei again and again, for she had not had a great time like this in a very long time, and she hasn't felt this happy before in a long time. Sergei then asked if she would go with him to visit his mother, who lived in the city, to which she agreed. She was in doubt that she had heard this voice before, and she kind of recognized those features too, even though he had a beard, and that had covered up a lot of his face, but she was in doubt that she had seen the man before somewhere in her life. She wanted to spend more time with him and wanted to embrace and be with him, but she couldn't, as she thought about the man that disappeared years ago, and she felt upset that he might be waiting for her all this time. This prevented her from embracing Sergei. Drawn very close to the man, she went to her hotel room and thought about Sergei all night. She wanted to leave her room and go to his and then sleep in his lap. She already missed him so much and couldn't wait for the morning so she could see him again. In the morning, to her surprise, Sergei was already waiting for her in her hotel room. After they had an amazing breakfast, both of them got into his car and drove towards his mother's house, which was located near to the city in a small village. They drove for an hour and then stopped by a beautiful wooden house. When they knocked on the door, an old woman came and opened it and greeted them very well. She called Katya by her name and complimented her beauty, that she was even much prettier than she had imagined. Katya was surprised by her reaction and asked Leela how she knew her name. Leela smiled innocently and welcomed them inside the house where the three of them sat. There was a table near them which had a lot of food, and Sergei asked Katya if she wanted to eat some or not. But Katya was very busy admiring the beautiful traditional house that she was sitting inside. Suddenly, her gaze caught a picture with a young man. She got up immediately and went closer to the picture and started crying because it was the man called Gregory, the one that she loved 21 years ago. Then she looked at another picture that was close to her with another man that looked very much similar to that of Gregory's. She then looked towards Sergei, and the whole story started to unfold. She screamed and told Sergei that it's the same guy that she loved years before. His mother came and hugged her and started crying, telling her that yes, it was Gregory who is Sergei's brother. He told them long ago that he had fallen in love with a woman in a small village nearby, and that after he came, she was already pregnant with his child. He also told them that she was very beautiful and extremely intelligent and wanted to go back to her after his military service was finished. But alas, that couldn't happen because he died in the war. Then Sergei told her that he had been looking for her a very long time and wanted to find her so she could be told the truth. So after he opened a branch of his company in the city near her village, he once went out with his driver to visit the village. Then he found her sitting near the hill looking very sad and broken, and upon asking the people of the village, he became aware that it was the same woman his brother had mentioned and loved deeply. Katya, upon hearing all this, got extremely happy and thanked both of them for doing so much for her and finally changing her life. Then she asked if she could return back to her village. Leela wanted to speak in private with her and then told her that Sergei had married a woman long ago who couldn't bear a child, and then she left him deserted and lonely. Now he wants a wife, and that Katya would make a happy wife and give him children, and she was just 40 years old and could bear children. Katya told her that she would think about it. Then she and Sergei sat in the garden and laughed a lot, and then they were going to sleep. Sergei, as he was taking her to her room, hugged her from behind and genuinely told her that he wanted to marry her, and he loved her at first sight and was smothered by her beauty. She agreed to marry him, and then he introduced her to his office mates and workers because he wanted her to accompany him in his office too. They then lived a very happy life as Katya lost all her depression and sadness. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like it and share it with your friends. Also tell us in the comment section below about the story and whether you liked it or not.